House Bill 402, the Stop the Purge Act, which would just do two simple things. First, it would stop the purging of voters simply for moving within Ohio. And second, it would stop the purging of voters simply for not voting as frequently as other voters. In Ohio, in the last 5 years, roughly 2 million voters have been purged. This is the most aggressive purging in the entire country. Ohio is purging people who move instead of just updating their address, as the National Voter Registration Act, or the NVRA, requires. And Ohio is purging people simply for not voting, which is in direct violation of the NVRA. Why is this? Why are we purging people from the rolls who are still eligible to vote? Ohio has portable voter registration. That means you are registered anywhere in Ohio and you move, you can vote and update your address at the same time on election day. Simply moving to a new address does not make anyone ineligible to vote. Who is being purged? Well, it seems that the purging is disproportionately targeting minority voters. In Cuyahoga County, for example, about 50,000 voters were purged this summer. 10,000 were purged because they moved and filled out a change of address form with the post office. And the other 40,000 were purged simply for not voting. We looked at census data for the areas where those purged voters lived and found that they were disproportionately from zip codes with greater numbers of African Americans than the county average. The NVRA is about registering all eligible voters, not purging them. The NVRA does not mandate this purging. In fact, it was designed to strictly limit the removal of voters to only 5 reasons: death, mental incapacity, criminal conviction, request of the voter, and an address change that makes one ineligible to vote. In Ohio, that would simply be a move out of state. The NVRA specifically prohibits purging people for not voting. But that's what Ohio does more than any other state, and right in broad daylight. Not only does the NVRA not mandate this purging, neither does Ohio law. These purge procedures are purely a creation of our Secretary of State's office. Why is purging a voter harmful? Because people who want to vote cannot vote, and people who do vote get their ballots thrown out. Cuyahoga County, for example, threw out 1,200 provisional ballots in our most recent election. Over 700 of those rejected were cast by people who were determined to be not registered. How many of those allegedly not registered voters were recently purged from the rolls, despite still being eligible to vote here in Ohio? All we hear from the other side is, it's easy to vote in Ohio. If you can't vote, it's your fault. You're not smart enough, you're not responsible enough, it's easy to vote. Well, a woman that I greatly admire, Pam Carlin, the former U.S. Deputy Attorney General for Voting Rights, recently spoke at Ohio State's law school about voting restrictions. She very candidly said, voting is easy for most people. Voting is not easy for poor people. And who's more likely to be poor? Women, minorities, young people, students. These are the people who vote less frequently, who move more often, and who have more difficulty voting, and who are targeted for purging. It's no consolation to be told voting is easy when your ballot arrives on time, but it's not postmarked, so it gets thrown out. And it's no consolation to be told voting is easy if you're one of the 700 people in Cuyahoga County whose ballot was not counted because you were purged from the rolls. This bill, House Bill 402, will stop the purging. It will stop the damage going forward. I'm now going to turn it over to Camille Wimbush,